Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, happy Sunday everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessToTrader.com weekend update show. Hope everybody is doing well. You're probably wondering why SMCI is in front of me. I have no idea either. Let me get this out of the way. Hope everybody is doing well. Guys, take a second out. Click the like button, help out the channel grow, and hopefully I will point you in the right direction. So what can we possibly say about a market that has been on such a euphoric magic carpet ride that whether you are a swing trader, day trader, momentum trader, whatever the case may be, it's very, very hard not to appreciate of what's happening. Now, again, you might be in your infancy stages of this business and it doesn't make a difference if the market goes straight up or straight down. You're still trying to kind of find yourself, kind of find your identity, what kind of trader you want to be. But if you've been an active participant in this market for, the last 5, even 10 years, you really have to, kind of appreciate of what exactly is happening here. Every single time that there is an opportunity for the market to have any excuse to take a rest, to come back down, right, on any headlines, just doesn't do that. And it's one of the incredible runs that I've probably seen. I mean, this is just really historic runs. I mean, you can go and check 30,000 different other sites and dissemination monster machines of exactly what the indexes are doing. But the most important part is wow, right? Wow. And now the question is, again, how do we responsibly, right? And that's the most important part. How do we responsibly continue to participate and obviously want to participate in a market that just doesn't feel like it has any chances to even pausing, letting alone stopping? And again, we always know in the back of our minds, all it takes is one close below the previous day's lows, and this magic carpet ride is going to at least pause or stop for a short period of time. But again, I don't want to play Debbie Downer. You don't want to hear about Debbie Downer, so I won't play Debbie Downer. So now the question is, how do we proceed responsibly, right? You had the big moves in everything, right? It feels like even stocks that are reporting bad earnings or at least giving an opportunity to go back to green. I personally think the most anticipated earnings report this quarter so far has been SanDisk, right? And you say to yourself, there's no way, right? There's no way, right? There's no possible way. The stock is up 3 gazillion %. There's no possible way, regardless of their quarter, that they're going to continue to go higher. No way. And you turn around after the close, right? You turn around after the close on Thursday, and the stock is getting absolutely shelled, right? It's down like, down like 7.5, 8%. Obviously, it still wouldn't have been a big deal considering how big the move is. And then you wake up the next morning and you see SanDisk only down like 3%. And I tweeted out pre-market, I go, who doesn't think the stock is going to go green at least once? Did I think it's going to go up another $100? No, but it really does show you the magic carpet ride the market is on. Does that mean every single stock that missed their numbers or at least had a negative impact in their numbers are acting the same way? No, of course not. And again, for case in point is Meta, right? Meta is not one of the ones that had this brilliant rally so far in 2026, and they got caught into earnings. Microsoft is another one. It never had a really brilliant run, just like the rest of them, and it got caught into earnings. But the most important part is, yes, the euphoric market is still in. I definitely want to participate alongside on a day-to-day basis. And it's like I kind of try to reiterate on a daily video basis, obviously in the webinar as well, that, again, we want to, take our jumps from levels that if you fail, you get a skin knee, right? You get a couple of bumps and bruises. You're not checked into the emergency room. They're sticking, resuscitation. It's just helping you breathe, right? And you're about to die. You don't want to do that. So look, I'm not going to sit there for the next, 10 minutes with all these hyperboles, how great the market is. We want to put ourselves in a situation of higher probability value going into this week. Again, I'm always prepared on the long side. I'm always prepared on the short side, just because I know, and I've went through this, half a dozen times that eventually magic carpet rides die, and you don't want to get clipped. And not only do you want to get clipped, especially if you're an active two-sided trader, you want to be prepared for the other side. So let's start off with the catalyst trades, right? Let's start off with the catalyst names that potentially could have an extension if they confirm their numbers. So obviously on the upside, there's no better catalyst trade than a good response to earnings. Two stocks this week obviously are on watch. First one is Google, right? First one is Google. Had a very, very big quarter, had a very, very big run. So it's actually very interesting. It's almost like playing the Sanders card. Again, a little scary, but Google, at least you can control for $1, right? Sanders, you can't control for $1. You can't control for $10. But Google is a name that I would like to see it kind of go sideways Monday and Tuesday. And then somewhere by Thursday, I'd like to see some like $390, $400 calls start coming in. I'd like to see them start accumulating short-term expiration, mainly the weeklies, with $5 to $10 out of the money calls. But the longer it could go sideways, the higher probability that the next move will be towards that 400 area, assuming the market could hold up. The second company in the same kind of, same realm of a potential play is Qualcomm, right? Qualcomm had a really, really nice quarter, man. Really, really nice quarter. Had a big move on Wednesday, put an inside day on Thursday. Same notes as Google. We want to see it go sideways for a couple of days. And if it starts attacking its earnings highs by like Wednesday or Thursday, especially Friday for weekly expiration, I would like to see this thing get back above the earnings highs. And just like Google, start seeing some deep out of the money, maybe 190, 195, maybe $200 calls to come in to really, really gaslight this thing towards the end of the week. Some names that are potentially going to reclaim back the 50-day moving average. If you're brand new to the channel, the 50-day moving average is the birth of the trend. So very, very important. Anything above the 50-day is good. Anything below the 50-day, again, basic technical analysis, not so much. So we got a couple of names. We got three names that are, attacking their 50-day levels. Let's start off with Tesla. Okay, so Tesla gave us a pretty big move on Friday, right? It finally got back above the 50-day moving average. So it reclaimed the 50 SMA, reclaimed the 64 EMA, reclaimed the 150-day moving average, and got rejected on the 50-day EMA. That is the last area of supply, the 50-day EMA. We did see some pretty aggressive call buying coming in. We saw some 400s. We saw some June 420s coming in, okay? Here's the problem with Tesla. We've seen this movie before. How many times, right? How many times you catch a decent trade on it and you're saying to yourself, okay, all it needs to do now is reclaim one more level, and then there's a good chance we could see recent highs. If you go through Tesla's chart, for the last year or so, it just disappoints, man. You get above the 50-day and it dies. You get above the 50-day and it dies. You get above the 50-day and it dies. It's the same thing over and over and over. Go. You got above the 50-day on April 15th and then died. So the question is, can it finally do it, right? Can it finally do it? Can Elon Musk finally make the call and say, guys, this is it. We're putting on our fighting gear. We're putting on our mouth guard. We're putting on our battle armor. We're going to war, baby. We're going to war. We're going to finally get back above the 50-day moving average. And not only are we going to stay above the 50-day moving average, we're going to put the bears in place to the level they've never seen before. Wouldn't that be nice? We haven't seen that in recent memory. So that's what we're looking for at Tesla. It's not a question is if it can get through above the 50-day EMA is, well, can it get through the 50-day EMA? To be determined. I'm pulling for it, man. I'm pulling for it because any close that we get above 396, okay, above 396, you should get a retest of the April 17 highs of 409. Any close above 409, then you got 420, which is the 150-day SMA. So let's go. Come on, Tesla. you can do it, right? There's nothing better in the stock market than a runaway Tesla trade. It just feels different. You know it. I know it. Hell, I think my mother-in-law knows it. Okay, let's get to work, Elon. Let's get to work. Let's talk about Adobe, right? Software stocks, the redheaded children of the market. This stock hasn't seen the light of day. I have to check when earnings are. Same case scenario as Tesla. The only difference is Adobe hasn't been above the 50 days since, right here, right? That's January, guys. Keep this in mind. Adobe hasn't seen the light of day since January. Well, same thing as Tesla. Can we finally get back above the 50-day moving average? It's above the 50-day SMA, and now we got to clear out the 50-day EMA. If it can clear out the 50-day EMA, there's at least 10 to 20 points measured potential in the trade. Again, check for earnings, but we are looking for 50-day reclaims in a market that's already a runaway train. PLTR, big buyers came in on Friday for Monday's earnings. Again, another stock just cannot stay above the 50-day moving average. The last time it was above the 50-day moving average was on January the 16th, and it died. It tried to get back above on March 6th, and it died. Try to get back above 324, it died. Right? You get what I'm saying? So let's see, and again, it's going to be a little bit different because they report on Monday. So it's not like you can just turn around and go, wow, if it just closes above the 50-day EMA, then we should start a big move. Well, no, they report on Monday. And if they say something bad, well, you're dead, right? So it's more of a day trade from Monday, and then we'll obviously see how the reaction is on Monday after the close for the Tuesday session. But let's see if we can get a trade on this thing. Good call buying came in for this week's 150, 155 calls. Obviously, that's going to cover earnings. So I'd like to see this thing reclaim the 50-day EMA some point in the morning. Probably, hopefully give us a nice $2, $3, $4 move into the close. NBIS, congratulations for all you guys who are still holding NBIS from Friday. Gave a pretty aggressive pivot off the 49.50 area. Buyers came in for Friday for the 155s. That's where he got pinned. Then we saw some June 200 calls coming in. This was a big runner. Big runner in April. Came back in pretty aggressively. Held the 64 EMA. This is now the first close above the 10-day moving average. Keep an eye on this thing. Again, check for earnings. But if this thing could get back above Friday's channels, who knows? Maybe this thing gets back to the top of the range. So keep an eye on that. To the downside, right? We always want to be prepared. Meta, I'll say it, right? Didn't have a good quarter. Or at least it had a good quarter. Just didn't have a good response to the quarter. So it couldn't rally the day after the day after the mini blow up. Can we call it a blow up? I don't know. 70, 80 points on a $600 stock. Okay, let's call it a mini blow up. 7, 8, 10%, whatever it is, right? We could call it a mini blow up, right? So it held on Thursday. The linear regression line, right? You see this little blue line here? It held it perfectly. Now, I will be watching this thing. It couldn't rally on Thursday, couldn't rally on Friday, couldn't even give a dead cat bounce. And you can see it closed on a red candle, which is basically a lower close than the open. Well, I'll be watching this week potentially a loss of earnings lows. If it loses earnings lows, it can get hit as well. And NVIDIA, right? I know NVIDIA is probably one of the last ones to report, probably in like 2-3 weeks or so. But it had a great run. Okay, I'm not saying it didn't have a great run. We caught a couple of really good pivots on that run. But now we're kind of like, if there is going to be a back test in the market, and we don't know, right? Again, we're just trying to be prepared. You see this whole range here? It's held this bottom range here 3 times. The first one on April 16th, and then it held on April 23rd, and then it held on Friday, right? And this also correlates with the 20-day support. If it loses the 20-day support, I think it can give us a trade. Again, I don't think it's going to get killed. It's not like one of those things like, people are just very extreme. It's going to go to zero, it's going to go to the moon. I think if there is a loss of the 20-day, that means it takes out a full month worth of range, and we possibly could get like a 4 to 6 point move. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a back test in the market. This thing back tests all the way back to the 50-day moving average at 87, 88, right? Would it really shock anybody? So I definitely want want to keep an eye on this thing to be prepared on both sides of the market. As far as the Iran war goes, wah, 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 wah. See, you don't get this information just anywhere. Guys, have a great trading week. Enjoy your Sunday. Stay blessed. And with God's help, we'll do it again all on Monday. Take care, everyone.